What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Leave It to the Judges MMA show. I'm here with Nick and X. Today, guys, we're going to be recapping UFC 297. What a card it was. I think it's only right we start at the main event. Very controversial main event.
What a car! What a shit card it was.
Yeah, that's what I meant. If you couldn't tell,
Yeah,
but like to be fair, the main event it was a fantastic back and forth fight. It was a great fight. You could really score it either way. I don't like the term robbery. I don't think if it went either way, there wouldn't have been a robbery. But quickly, guys, how did you guys score the fight? I'll start. I had 2, 3, and 4 for DDP and 1 and 5 for Strickland.
so I had one, two, and five for Strickland. Um, what two was like a toss up round, so like it could have gone either way, to be honest with you. So like you said, it wasn't a robbery in my mind either.
I had the same as you had. Same
Okay. So
same
what do
round.
you think was the story of the fight in the cage? Because like DDP was able to wrestle. It seems like DDP's cardio was able to hold up perfectly fine. He never looked like terribly gassed. What did you guys see in the fight?
I saw Sean like taking rounds 3 and 4 off. Personally, um, I don't know if that was just to try to be ready to defend the takedowns a little better or what. But I feel like Sean's output, like if we can click round 3 and 4, like the total strikes, like it seems like his output greatly waned down like in those 2 rounds. And he started to get on the back foot a little bit more. I feel like Sean did a good job early of not letting Drakus walk him down. So they were like, both kind of coming forward, meeting in the middle for large sections of the fight. And in those sections, I thought Sean did a little bit of a better job of landing the cleaner strikes. His jab was working. He didn't do too much else. I thought that, a few more teeps might have served him well. I felt like they were there, but maybe he was just, scared of the takedown again, which, fair play to him. But I feel like when Drakus was allowed to come forward as when he had his most success and get those takedowns. And while he didn't do much with them, he was getting them at a decent clip at least.
Yeah.
I also feel like, in all honesty, if Sean doesn't cut his nose and get like that crimson mask going, I feel like the fight might have been scored a little bit differently. Because to that point, DDP was all busted up and like his eye was all swollen and shit, and Sean's face looked pretty fine, which obviously the judges take that into account. But I feel like the blow was getting in his face, and like I saw him wiping it several times while he was defending off takedowns, and I think it kind of just allowed DDP to get his offense going a little bit more while Sean was dealing with that blood, and it looked good to the judges. One guy a face full of blood, one guy not bleeding that much. You know, I kind of felt like it was clouding the judges a little bit though, because from what I was seeing, I was like DDP not landing that cleanly. Like even still, like his face is fucked up because of that one cut. I think it was on the bridge of the nose, if I remember correctly. But
Mhm.
it wasn't like it looked a lot worse in real time than the cut actually was.
Yeah. And I noticed this also credits DDP for not getting tired. Like DDP was he was throwing hard. Like you could tell he was going for the knockout. A lot of his punches, they looked a little sloppy, but like you could tell he was going for the finish on the feet, or at least he was attempting to really rock Strickland. I don't know if you guys saw that too.
Most definitely. But I mean, that's kind of what I expected. I'm pretty sure Drake just believes in his power, and when you've put as many people away as he has, like I will believe in my power too. He probably just thought that if he can catch Sean clean, he could probably knock him out, like he said. And the fight kind of like showed me that he did believe that. I will say even when his cardio did dip, I feel like the speed of his shots didn't dip that much, which I was pretty impressed with. They all looked like they still had heat on him, even in the fifth. Maybe just his output diminished a little bit, but like I feel like he was still dangerous the whole fight.
Well, y'all, I had a
Right,
great
you
ball Saturday night.
Here we go, Clark.
The
Here we go.
whole card was terrible. I hated it, to be honest. Co-main was worse than I ever thought it would be. It was just all over the place. But the main delivered, and that's all that matters in the end. And I had a great time watching my man win. He's part of my. Any advice I give to any of y'all, just follow my fighters. They just seem to win. I got my starting lineup. We got center, Cyril Gane, power forward. Who power forward? Who am I thinking of? Well, I'll go back to that for a sec. We got small forward, DDP, shooting guard, Corey Sandhagen, point guard, Charles Oliveira.
Oh my god.
Thinking for power.
Hey, what
forward.
about Arnold Allen, your boy? What
No,
about
no,
him?
no, he doesn't make the cut. He's on the bench. He's on the bench.
Okay. Damn,
But
that's tough.
wait, who am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Shavkat, Rahman,
Nice.
power forward. So if you just follow my guys, y'all can just win some money. But anyways, enough of the jokes aside. I love the fight. A lot of respect to Strickland though, I kind of doubted him, and the defense was definitely on point in the first. And I figured there could be a problem because DDP was definitely having troubles with the reach a lot in the first round. But as the fight went along, Strickland was getting backed up more and more. And the one thing I did say in the preview to this fight, about 90+% of Strickland's fights that he loses, he usually gets backed up. And what happened here? I just feel like he's not the best off his back foot. It's weird. I thought going away from the teeps was a disadvantage for him because I think it would have kept the range a lot better. I don't think DDP would have been able to sprint as hard in those flurries he had. But this all comes down to the second round, and I only think DDP won that round because for the first half of that round, I would say Strickland was doing his same work, putting the jab out there, landing a little more consistently than DDP did. But I feel like he went away from it through the last half of the round, and I felt like DDP was starting to gain his momentum and coming forward a lot. And I feel like the one thing to judge is if you close out the round strong, you will in a close round, you will win that round. And I feel like DDP definitely did that,
That's a great.
especially with the leg takedown. I think that was huge for him to clinch that round. And I feel like him, as I also said in the preview, using his whole MMA ability compared to just boxing from Strickland was going to be the slight difference. And it was, in my opinion. He was throwing question mark kicks.
That was shocking. The kick.
Yeah, a lot of head kicks that were successful, which I was surprised by because Sean did such a good job against Adesanya, kind of eliminating those kicks. So
I feel like it was probably unexpected more so from DDP.
that's true. I haven't seen. He does throw head kicks. I haven't seen him throw that many head kicks though. He was throwing a lot of them. So I was impressed by both though. Strickland showed a lot of heart in that fifth round. He knew he at least needed to push hard at the end and listen to his coach as well. They didn't great corner advice from both as well. I thought overall it was a great fight. I would have been fine if either one of them won, to be honest. So yeah, I like the fight.
One thing before we continue talking about this, Clark, you mentioned something that I kind of realized the past year or so that it's been happening a lot. Like a guy will win a majority of the round, but one guy will finish the round better, and then they'll give the round to that. Unless it's like a knockdown or something like that, I am not a huge fan of that at all.
No, not at all.
That is some annoying shit in my opinion.
It is. I feel like DDP just did enough because he caught up on the strike numbers right at the end, and then I think the takedown's what clinched it. If he didn't get the takedown, I don't know if he wins that round.
And I wasn't really referring to this fight, but like just in general. But
Yeah.
moving on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Clark.
No. That I agree with you.
Yeah, like you said, very back and forth fight. Let's talk about what's next for each guy. Does this warrant an immediate rematch?
No, um,
Interesting.
no. I mean, Dano, he did say that like he thinks that they'll fight again down the line, but not immediately. Um, but like Dana also said, a big thing that I'm a firm believer in is to be the champ, you have to beat the champ, and that probably is a large portion of why I think that Sean should have won the fight. Um, I do not like when it's a razor thin Cejudo Mighty Mouse type of a fight and then you change belts on that. If it's like an even fight, then to me the challenger didn't do enough to take the belt, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I mean like losing a title, winning a title is a major accomplishment. And to do it on like to have the belt change hands on like a toss up kind of fluky. I feel like John Jones probably has benefited from that same kind of mentality where it's like we're not gonna take the belt off of him if it's a close fight. The other person, if the other person doesn't clearly beat you as the champion, I feel like you should get the home court advantage in that aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that argument.
Granted, like there's no way to round by round like do it that way, but like maybe if it's like if you feel like it's a 50-50 round, you just give it to the champion type shit. Like maybe that's the way to like fix that. Cause I feel like if I was a judge, that's kind of the way I would have to score that, especially when a title's on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Clark, what do you think about a rematch at 300?
I mean, I don't think it's warranted, to be honest. I'm a firm believer in to get a rematch, you need to win at least 3 defenses, in my mind.
Okay.
Like, I just feel like we're giving these people too many immediate rematches these days. You need to defend that belt at least 3 times.
Even if the fight is like razor close like this one.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Okay.
matter. Because to be honest, I will say I gained a lot of respect out of Strickland after this fight, and I think he'll be back eventually. So I think I think they'll rematch anyways down the line. I think that's true.
Okay.
They're like
Now,
somewhat. They're just both. I think they're both somewhat young. Maybe I don't know about Strickland, but I think Duplessis is like 29. So I feel like they have enough time to meet again.
okay. It just like based on things online, Dana was kind of hinting toward it. DDP even said like it seems like DDP's gonna defend his belt at 300. Regardless if it's 300 or not, who deserves the next um the next shot at the belt?
I mean, if Izzy's in the picture, it's gonna be him.
Okay.
I feel like that is a storyline that is big, like the whole Africa versus Africa thing. They had the little build up, and I feel like Strickland honestly just threw a cog in those plans. Um, I don't think that that's the way that I'm sure that the UFC like expected Adesanya to win and like be ready for win convincingly against Sean and like be ready for DDP. Um, that's not how like life works, and that's definitely not how MMA works, as we've seen time and time again. Shout out Juliana Pena, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes someone comes in that bitch with different plans, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what Strickland did. More power to him. But I do think that, with DDP winning, uh, they're just gonna resume this storyline here. Uh, yeah. I think that as long as Izzy is, healthy enough for I don't know what his injury is and he hasn't disclosed it, but I know it was something like fairly significant. So if he's gonna be ready in time and feels in shape to fight, then I feel like that's the fight to make.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree. 300 needs something big.
Yeah, and I think DDP versus Izzy is perfect. And then you could do Strickland Hamzat another time, maybe. That'd be a fun fight.
I would watch Hamzat DDP, man. They both be gassing out. Fuck it.
That'd be a crazy fight. That'd be a violent ass fight.
I think that Hamzat probably has the grappling advantage from what I've seen. And so like what's DDP's cardio gonna look like when he's like losing the wrestling exchanges? What's Hamzat's if he's losing the wrestling exchanges? Like they both have that kind of like we looked gassed, but we still keep going like mentality. So that would be to me a fucking slapper of a fight.
It'd
That'd be a good fight. And that was
Alright.
Dana might
And
be.
I also know that like I believe Hamzat was like the winner of that last fight was promised a title shot next. So
I mean, yeah. I
That'd be-
don't
we
know if I
know
buy
that Dana's word is very, very iffy. You know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah.
you know that was the agreement to get them to take that flight on short notice. So
Yeah, for sure. All right. Speaking of bangers, let's go to the co-main event, guys. Raquel Pennington gets it done, beating
That was
Breno Silva, first champ since Amanda retired. Pretty dominant. I mean, like she kind of look at the stats. I guess I don't know. It was an okay. I don't know. What do you guys think of it, man?
I mean, Raquel Pennington fought a damn good fight.
Yeah.
Nothing away from her. I just was cheering for Bueno Silva, and from that perspective, I was very disappointed in what I saw. But like, for if you're a Raquel Pennington fan and you were pulling for her in this fight, like she fought beautifully. Her experience and cardio definitely showed through. She knew not to say she's a submission threat, but like sometimes these like young jujitsu people, they try to chase submissions, and I feel like when you're a veteran, you kind of realize position over submission, just because you can put yourself on the bottom sometimes seeking a finish, and if it doesn't come, like that's the round for your ass, and you're getting fucking punched in the face. And I feel like that happened to Bueno Silva many times, where I felt like she was selling out to try to do something big, and then Pennington would just stay defensively sound, and then
Win the rest of the round.
win the rest of the round.
Yeah. That happened at least 2 or 3 of the rounds.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll be honest. During this fight, especially rounds 3, 4, and 5, I was watching some Family Guy, so I was in and out of it.
Oh,
But
God.
like, it just like I don't know what to say, man. This is like congrats to Pennington. She's been in the game for so long, so a lot of respect to her. Bueno Silva gave up after round 3. Like, I mean, she was also just completely gassed.
Yeah.
Which didn't help either, but in the clinch, like, she was just so different in this fight. Whenever she like moved forward to strike, she wouldn't strike. She would like kind of put her arms out there as like a reach, and then Pennington would just like catch her on the head a bunch of times. And it was just weird to me, like what she was doing out there a lot of the fight. Yeah, not much to say. Pennington kind of just won the clinch battle, which I think Bueno Silva thought she'd have a big edge in, but once she gassed out, Raquel kind of just dominated that position the whole time. Eventually getting, did she get a takedown in the last round or something? Yeah,
Let's see.
she got one.
Round 3.
Around 3, okay.
How do you guys think the next fight obviously is Pennington versus Pena? How do you guys see that one going?
I'm not gonna lie, Pena might have the belt for a while. I mean,
Bro, why would
I
you
think
say something
kind of
like
runs
that?
through Penny. No offense to Penny, I feel like Bueno Silva also had a lot of chances to get her to the ground. She just wasn't able to, and I feel like Pena's a much better wrestler.
Dude, respectfully, this division, man, it is rough, to say the least.
It is a
Yeah.
piece of work. Arguably the worst in the UFC.
And this isn't me hating or us hating on women's MMA. Like, we're not that type of fans of like, oh, it's a girls' fight. We're not gonna. It fucking sucks. Because like, Flyweight and strawweight have been really entertaining.
Women's strawweight is fucking stacked.
And so
Yeah.
is flyweight. Like,
Yeah, both of those have been really fun. Like great title fights. Just really, they both have some nice contenders. It's just bantamweight and featherweight for women have always been like notoriously trash.
yeah, I like Norma Dumont at 12 down there. By the way.
All right, guys, let's cover the rest of the main card really quickly here. Featured fight of the night was Neil Magny versus Mike Malott. The first 2 rounds, man, it was pretty much what everyone expected. And then things took a turn for the worse for the Canadian in the third. He got finished with like 15, 20 seconds left. He just clearly got like extremely exhausted and couldn't do anything. Like it was pretty hard to watch, especially in front of his home crowd. He was so hyped to represent Canada, and then he gets beat by Neil Magny like that. Well, what are you guys' thoughts? Let me hear it.
It's just
absolutely fucking terrible. I'm a fucking absolutely fucking garbage. Okay, let's just get that shit out the way. Controlled the bulk of the fight. I thought Magny did pretty decent in the striking early, like just in terms of not getting washed the way he normally would, which is more to me a detriment to Malott's striking skills than praising Magny. At this point, I like Magny can't. He impressed me here by getting this win, but like, he didn't really impress me, if that makes sense. Because I always I hold him in decent regard. You know what I'm saying? I don't like disrespect Magny. I feel like he's always there against lesser opponents. And to me, he's the ultimate gatekeeper. And he fucking kept this gate, and it's goddamn shameful. Malott should be ashamed of himself. I feel like pressure to get the finish probably worked against him here. I think he had the decision pretty sewn up, and I believe Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but did he try to jump a guillotine that led to him ending up on bottom?
I think so.
I think he tried to jump a guillotine, if I remember correctly. Just an ill-advised.
Did Magny not sweep him? And he got the top? No.
I forgot, to be honest.
Was it a guillotine?
Well, let me see if you got a taking.
I was a little drunk, but I would tell you.
I honestly I can't tell you.
All I know is Malott did not have to end up on the bottom like he did, and he did. And it seemed like he was willing to take some risks to try to get Magny out of there. And when he had energy, it was fine. But when he ran out of energy, it happened so suddenly. I didn't think that he was so gassed in the third until the last 3 minutes or something. I'm like, oh, he has nothing left? What the fuck? Oh, it was absolutely... It was a Boost level meltdown, I'm telling you. It was in a Boost versus Sean level meltdown of cardio.
That did come out of nowhere.
Disgusting.
I couldn't believe a Boost just came out dead second round. I was like, no way, bro. I did not like this fight either. Mike Malott, he won most of the fight. I liked his strat early with the leg kicks. He took after Ian Gary. It was a pretty smart strat at first. He was getting the takedowns. He was doing everything right. Made one mistake by jumping a guillotine, I think, too early. It's probably all that pressure from the home fans. He's kind of the crowd favorite, and he wants to finish in spectacular fashion. So I understand him trying to do that, but at the same time, get the win, bro. That's what this sport's all about, getting the win. So he really just kind of choked it. That's all I gotta say. I mean, he gassed out at the end there, but if he wasn't on bottom, I don't know if he would have gassed as hard.
I agree.
So, he just kind of choked the fight. My Magny, respect him for winning, but I'll be honest, he did not put in a good showing for at least 80% of that fight.
That's the fucked up part, man. He did not look good. And and then he just beat him like out of nowhere. That's like the worst part of it. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
This is what you claim. Like this is an example of what you claim. Sean is Clark. Like he solely won this off cardio. Like solely. Like so. He was
oh,
absolutely dog
Magny.
shit for 2 rounds. Yeah, I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
I'm saying
but he,
no, I'm saying Magni is what you always accuse Sean of. To be honest, like you're always like Sean looks ass. He only wins because people tire out. That's Magni, bro. That's literally Magny.
here in my defense, I do think Sean leveled up after the Boost fight. Clearly, through the defense alone, because I hadn't seen him with that kind of defense ever, to be honest. So it was different in the past. I look at him differently now.
That's fair.
The defense has gone crazy. I think if he didn't have that defense, it'd be a little worse for him, but the defense has been crazy.
I agree.
yeah. All right. I'm sure Mike Malott will bounce back and Neil will get another contender. Let's move on.
I think I don't know, man. It might be to PFL for his ass, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
A
That'd be
lot?
crazy.
Not yet, but I'm saying like from what I just saw, like there's a lot of people in this division that will fuck him up. So
Yeah.
like I think that this may have like how old is he? If he's like over 30,
I think
he,
he's
he ain't getting no title shots, man. He ain't getting no
I'm
title
not
shots.
sure actually, but I think he's young.
If
oh
if he's young, he maybe he can learn from this. But if he's over 30, man, the gap is too wide. If you ask me,
no, yeah, that's true. Oh God, this fight.
How'd you guys score this fight? First of all, who do you guys think won?
I
I
thought
don't
Curtis,
care.
What?
I thought Curtis won.
Yeah, me too. What did you think, Clark?
I thought Curtis won, but it would.
Okay.
You know what? I'll talk about this. This fight was terrible as well. I don't know how like they keep getting worse, but like somehow like because I actually thought this fight would be a banger and like they'd kind of be just going back and forth.
I thought there was gonna be a lot of action.
And it was just like Barrios, I feel like if he did that, could have won the fight. Cause Chris Curtis kind of, I mean, he did his thing, good counter puncher, but like for most of the fight, it was kind of like they were just looking at each other and kind of reading what to do next, but no one was doing anything a lot of the time. And I feel like Chris Curtis though clearly won the third, which I think was the defining round that got him the dub. He was definitely landing a lot more in that round. I feel like Barrio also gassed a little bit, which I feel like Chris Curtis turned it up a little more in that round as well. I feel like Chris Curtis could be way better if he just moved forward. I mean, he is kind of a counter striker, but I don't know. He's got power in his hands. I wish he just moved forward more, but I felt this fight was terrible. That's all I have to say.
I was just expecting so much more.
Exactly.
Chris Curtis said after the fight he was criticizing Dominic Cruz's commentary because Cruz was saying like, oh, this just looks like they're sparring, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And to his credit, like I think that is a bit disrespectful. 1 second.
I agree. Bless you.
I think that is a bit disrespectful. Because like he says, like when you're in that cage, like it is a scary thing, and I feel like the boos and shit from the crowd were not warranted. Watching it live, I didn't think it was boring. Barrio was coming forward a lot early, and I feel like like you said, Curtis made his reads. I thought Curtis invested to the body a lot, which paid him dividends down the line. And in round 3, when it was like to me 1-1, I thought that they were exchanging and both people were getting hit, but I thought Sean was putting his combinations a little bit better because he was going to the body. He might go body, body, head, head, whereas Barrio would go like maybe 2 headshots or something, and maybe 1 like half missed. So I thought that Curtis's body work won him the fight, and I thought that it seemed like Curtis's hands, like his strikes, like did more damage. I feel like Barrial was hitting him, but it never looked like he was stunned. Curtis was stunned to me or rocked at all.
What do you think next is for Curtis?
I mean, pull up the rankings.
Ranked, right?
Sits at 14 at the moment. Apparently, he went down one.
That's crazy.
Unless that might not be updated. I don't know.
Oh, hey, Fluffy ahead of him. That's fair. That's fair. I like Fluffy.
That'd be a good fight.
Fluffy on the bench for me. I think Fluffy fighting Iskarov or
Oh yeah, we just saw that. Never mind.
or Alice Iskarov, whatever his name
Does
is.
Hermanson have a fight right now? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I would give
you can do Paul Craig.
or Paul Craig. Paul Craig is the
Yeah, I'd say Paul Craig's good,
Good
or even Kaio down there. Yeah, one of those.
Alrighty. Move to the last fight of the main card: Allen versus Ivanov. This was a pretty entertaining fight, man. This was one of my favorite fights on the card. I know, like, Ivanov dominated a lot of it, but I think Arnold Allen like did the best he could. It looked good at some spots. What do you guys think of the fight?
I think when the fight was on the feet, Allen looked dangerous, and Evolov, like I predicted, his striking was a little bit behind Allen's, which as a wrestler, is primarily a wrestler that's to be expected against a striker like Arnold Allen. But I thought he did good enough on the feet, landed enough to like get some respect, and in transition, his chain wrestling was the difference. I felt like Arnold Allen was decent at stopping like the first shot, but he couldn't really get Evolov off of him, and eventually would get dragged down and controlled a little bit. And I thought that was mainly the difference in the fight, is just Arnold Allen's inability to keep it standing. I thought that there was times, especially in the third round, it looked like Arnold Allen knew he was down 2 rounds and came out aggressive. And he was cracking Evolov a little bit. Like, not to say Evolov was ever like in serious danger or rocked really bad, but he was cracking him a little bit. But again, like, Evolov found the takedown, and that was the fight.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's my boy, but I knew he was down 2-0 going to that third. I thought he won the third though. He stopped the takedowns a lot more in that round. But man, Evolov, he's just a dog. Like, he is fast, twitchy kind of wrestler. He might be tough to beat at the very top there. I think this dude might have the best chance against Volk. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the wrestling's that good. Like, that chain wrestling style, like, it's just the best kind to beat someone like Volk, I would say. So I don't know. On the feed, definitely a little behind, but he is twitchy, and I do like that in fighters. I don't think he knocked Allen down, but he stunned him really hard. I think at the end of the second round, which I think also clinched that round for him. It was a very nice jab or something. I don't know. But I was impressed by both guys. It was a high level fight. I don't know. I like both and the way they fought, but Evolov was just a step ahead in the wrestling, and I think that's what took it for him.
Definitely.
Yeah, Arnold Allen looked great, man. For like, he did what he could. Just the pace of Ivanov was so much. But yeah, I see bright future. I still see a bright future for Arnold Allen, bro. No way did he get dominated or whatever.
No, it was a somewhat close fight.
I'm just looking at the rankings. You could do Evolov versus like Josh Emmett. That'd be a crazy fight. Or Allen versus Emmett. You could do either of those versus Emmett.
I kind of want to see him against Yair.
Who?
Evolov.
Evolov, that would be a banger.
Well, Yair's fighting Ortega, so I don't
You could
know.
do loser of that fight.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, dude, featherweight's so lit, dude.
I like featherweight.
All right, boys. Before we wrap the video up, anything on the prelims you want to quickly cover?
Yeah, go to that City fight, bro. I got some things to say.
It's a good fight, man.
It was a good fight. This was probably the second best fight of the night, I'd say. But I felt like City clearly won the fight. Um, even though Ramon knocked him down kind of early in that second round, I feel like for the rest of that round, City was bringing the pressure. He was completely on him, landing way more strikes than him. Or you go to the second round numbers or the
Yeah.
round two numbers. Yeah, I mean, almost doubling his strikes. And I just feel like that is just a lot of damage as well. That at least outweighs like a knockdown, in my opinion. And it's a momentum thing towards the end of the round, which judges like. So I feel like everything that round should have been City's way. And I think he did the same thing in the third. He did the exact same thing. I felt like the only reason Tavares won the fight is because he just had a little more pop on his shots compared to City, but it was a good fight overall, but I would have City winning that fight.
Yeah, I think I did too live. I was kind of like, I see what they were going for. I was kind of worried they were going to give it to Tavares.
I was as
But
well. I just
like you
felt
said, you just got to know what the judges value. It's really subjective at this point, which is kind of annoying, but it's whatever.
To me, that knockdown just wasn't. It just didn't outweigh all the rest of the work that City did in that round, and that's really why I thought he won. I wouldn't say it was a robbery, but I did think that the wrong fighter won.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. Wait, but what round do you think was better for City? The third clear?
I
Like, what's clear to y'all?
probably the second, like right after the knockdown, he was really on his ass for like a good 3-4 minutes.
Okay.
I want to say, but it's whatever, dude. It was a bad night for Canada.
Yeah. The Canadian males went 0 for 7.
Yeah, shout out to the Canuck girls.
Sir.
All right. Anyways, though, thank you guys so much for watching this recap video. We're gonna have plenty more different type of videos coming out soon. Check out the TikTok.
Hopefully some better fucking cards for you guys, because
Hopefully, man. We got some banger pay-per-views coming up, so content should be fire as always. But we love y'all. We'll see you.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay.